Hello, everybody. How are you? Hope everyone's having a great day. Yes? Very good. Okay. I'm going to continue this guy. Started him last Friday. And now I want to start getting a little bit more details. Again, I'm not trying to make Short Circuit Johnny number 5 alive. I'm just taking some inspiration as, another one of my 80s kid influenced movies. So we're going to go through. I'm going to start putting a little bit of detail. Because I think I'm set for where his head's at. I'm happy with that. We're good to go. The little backpack thing that I have here, I'm good to go on that. So I'm going to start now putting some more things in play here. Again, if you got questions, by all means, fire away. I want to start with the jacket. I want to get going on what I would like to do with the jacket, and where I would like to go with that. So I am going to, because I don't want to... I'm going to use some of the dynamic things that we have in ZBrush, so I want to just first establish like some puffiness that I want in this jacket, and I don't want any of the other subtools to play a role in any of the collision states themselves right now. So just again to give us a little, I'm going to clone the jacket so that the only thing I'm looking at is the jacket. I do need at least one other subtool for dynamics to work, for if I want to do anything of dynamically with it. And in fact, would probably be, the more I think about it, we'd be all right. You know what? The more I think about it, we could just go right to the transpose cloth, right? And what I want to do is I want to mask out like that inner portion like this, okay? And then using this transpose cloth, I can kind of puff this out. But it's using the cloth algorithm. So I'm going to start getting a little bit like this, a little bit some stretching in certain areas. I'm going to hide the mask and see if that's kind of where I want to go. I think that's getting close to what I want. I can go this direction, get a little bit more puffiness that way. I think, ooh, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-da. Okay, I think this is not too bad, giving me some initial puffiness that I want. So I can look at that. Then I'm going to switch to some brushes here. I'm going to use first this one, the pinch one. And right now we are dynamically looking at the model. So I have dynamic subdiv on. I don't need this much. We're going to knock it down to level 2. And then I have some thickness going here for the jacket itself. And I want to just now just start. Okay, so see stuff like that. It's pretty aggressive and strong. So again, I'm going to use the polygrouping ability here that I've set up. We'll kind of mask that inner portion a little bit, so that way when I do the pull, I can kind of start not factoring in that middle section. I just want to put a little bit of some variations in here. Let's go smaller. And let's get some variations. And actually, before I do that, let's go ahead and store a morph target. I'm going to store a morph target. And you know what, now that I think about it, let's actually do this. Let's clone this one now. This is kind of what we got. Okay, so everything will be, let's do. Alright. Alright, so now we have this. Let's go up into the dynamics. Let's use the expand. Let's turn Let's turn gravity off. I have the strength really low. I have my inflate low. Okay. I need a subtool for the calculations to be done, but I don't really want it to collide with anything in here. Let me switch back to the normal transpose. Okay, that's good enough because I just want this to kind of collide. Then I'm going to make sure I do have a morph target, okay, which I do. Okay, let's look at the dynamics again. Yeah, that's good. Allow expanding, expanding. Okay, collision state, and then now let's run the simulation. And let it kind of expand a little more. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to escape key that. It doesn't look that good right now, but now I want to now pick and choose kind of where I want some of this to actually show up. I just want some sort of like a little bit of variation in the kind of the jacket a little bit, just so it's not all the same everywhere. And then I'm going to pick and choose just by using the morph brush now to kind of take some of that back. Alright. So simple. Just a little bit. I don't want anything too crazy here. And then we'll use the pinching to add a little bit more variation to us. It's too much wrinkle. He looks like he's aged. He hasn't aged well. Alright, this jacket is a little too much for me. This is why I then can locally decide, like especially I don't want the edges, those edges really to get too messed up. The arm's not really going to matter too much because I'm cutting them off, but it's just a habit. I want to have a little bit of something going on here. Alright. Okay, so then this is what I have now. Let me go back to my character. Let me insert the new jacket. And then now I have this jacket, which has kind of that iteration a little bit here and there that I want. And then now we can use these pinching brushes, some other cloth brushes. So I like this kind of, this one's pretty good. Again, if you go really, really hard with this, it's pretty strong, right? It like does that. Okay, so we could start, obviously, intensity. What if I just knock it down 50% first of all, right? Have a little bit less intensity. That's a little still too much, I think. Let's go down 20%. Okay, it's happening a little bit less now. And so now I can kind of just slowly pull some other variations maybe that I want. And then again, I have a morph target that I can play with if I want to as well. Again, this would be the reason why I would store a morph target. Even if I forgot to store a morph target, that'd be fine because we can use the undo history to even do some of this. Let me just pinch some of this stuff together a little bit more. Just start adding some little bit of variation in here, and here, here. Okay, the back is fine. I'll take care of that later. Alright, let me see. Okay, alright. Let's switch to the morph. Some of this I think I went a little too aggressive with. Let's dial this one back a little bit. I just want some subtle changes in some of this puffiness. Some of it's a little too, I think for me, too puffy. All right. Okay. So now I have that all set up. Again, this jacket's also, what it actually is it's a plane. So what I mean by that, if I turn dynamic off, it's just this. It's just a plane of topology. And then I'm using dynamics with thickness, right? So I can go this direction, it'll be completely different. If I go this direction, it's different. Okay, so it's just how much of the thickness do I want? So I can actually play with this. Let's say -0.2. right? So you can go a little bit less even puffiness this way as well. And I can look at it like that. And I can use this thickness to kind of even dial things. Like if I want to go way out more, see, I can go way out more. Like, do I want something more like, I don't know. See, this is kind of it. Just, I don't know. I think I might like that a little bit more. Let me go negative. Kind of shrinks it in a little bit more. I think I like it a little bit more puffed out. Like this. Which I'm going to have to fix because now it's colliding in places I don't want it to collide for sure. Like obviously in there and everything. So I'm definitely going to want to fix this. All right, so I'm going to switch to the move. I'm going to switch to the move topological. And like for this, I want this pushed in more. I want it to live more behind stuff. Just do a little bit of editing here. And then I'm just using the Alt key to push in by normal right now as well. And then the move topological, because this is not actually connected in the middle. So there's two ends to this, right? So that's why I can kind of do what I'm doing right now. And so what I mean by that, what's happening over here does not affect this side, right? Because this side is, in essence, again, it's not welded at all in the middle section. So as I'm playing with this is the kind of stuff I'd like to do to make sure it's understood that this is kind of butting into that. Move that one back a little bit. Alright. That looks pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Okay, I'm going to fix this one a little bit more. It's gotten a little too wonky for me. Okay, not bad. Okay, gets kind of the point across where I'm trying to go with this. Okay, so now I need to figure out some items I want to do on this is to kind of, like, what's happening in here is because the jacket, right, is this. Like, it's not an actual solid piece of topology, right? It has openings and places where I don't want it to have some kind of opening. So we can try and solve some of this for sure, and see what we can do. So some of this is going to be more challenging up here, for sure, I think. But we'll give it a try and see. There's multiple ways. I want to kind of make it solid, like, cause I don't want like that. I don't want that open. I don't want that open. I don't want that open. Kind of just want this jacket. So let's look at it in this way first. Let's see, let's go to brush, see modeler. Let's just see how good of a hole closing we get with this. Okay, I'm gonna do a save next. And I'm gonna say close, hole there. That makes that now watertight on that side. Do the same thing here. That's now watertight there. Dynamically, this is what would happen, right? So now, in essence, I'm trying to make it so this doesn't happen anymore. So this jacket needs to be closed off, in essence, okay? In order for me to do this. So that's not bad. I think there's a way. I don't know if I want to use the close. Let's try. Let's see how easy we can make this happen. Let's just use another piece of geometry. We'll use a sphere. Let's size it up. So I just want it to fill to the point that it starts to touch other portions of the mesh. Let's do this so I can see what I am colliding with and what I don't want it colliding with. Okay, that's fine. Let's push this underneath. I need that chest plate stuff to show up. I'll smooth this out, smooth that out. See what we got going on here right now. We'll see. This is like an experiment. You got to see which one's really going to work for us. Again, I'm just trying to make sure I have this. And right now, what also is happening to the sphere is it's also having thickness done to it. So we should probably, because of that, I should split this off. And then that way the sphere is its own. And then dynamically, we don't want any thickness, because that will change things. Okay. And now, let's go to view 2. Let's turn just the jacket on and this sphere on, so we're only looking at this world. And now pull this forward a lot more, pull forward even more. And then, see, all this needs to collide with the rest of the jackets in the areas. I don't want any openings, in essence. Right? I need to get as watertight as I can doing this. I'll keep an eye on the chat. If you got questions that are coming up, please do feel free to fire away at me. I'm more than happy to take on any of the questions that we might have. Right now, I'm just trying to make this guy be a little bit more watertight. Okay, it looks like I got. It's going to be enough because there we go. Alright, good there. So now I'd say that's pretty closed off there. Let's now, again, let's make another one. Let's again use a sphere again. It's going to be the easiest. This one's probably going to be a little bit easier for us because a lot of this is just being deleted anyways, because again I'm just focused on doing a bust. I'm not trying to do the full thing here, so I just need some overlapping where I need it the most, and just using the smooth brush to kind of just make sure I'm not in the areas of where I don't want it for the jacket. And then now we'll just, again, I just need some overlapping to take place. It doesn't need to be perfect because I am Booleaning it out anyways. Alright, there we go. Except this is the kind of stuff we want to be careful about. I don't want to getting into the jackets. Let's see where I'm at. Let's go back to view 1. Okay. Looks like we might be okay. All right. I am using, let's see, this. Yes, and here. I'm using it here. So I'm going to eliminate more of this area in here. I don't like what's happening in there. So let's turn on symmetry. Like it kind of make it more cut across. Something more in that world probably. And then the rest of that is probably like we're looking good. All right, so let me duplicate that and move that down here at the bottom since I made this adjustment. And I'm using it for multiple things here. So now I got these meshes kind of creating that. Okay, we need, let me apply this so we get some subdivision levels, because I need to make sure that right here, I don't want this to happen. All right, let's go back to view 2. Okay, make sure we still, right here is, I want to make sure that I got some overlapping here. Alright, go back to view 1. Okay, that's good enough for me. Alright, so this is all folder. Let's folder this up so that we can do some other experiments here. Alright, okay, this is where I built the collar from. This is the original jacket, this is the new jacket, this is this, okay? And what I want to do is I want to look at what the result will be when I merge some things down. Okay, so I'm going to merge these two items right now. All right, so this is dynamically being seen, so let's apply this now. So we'll get the real topology with thickness. So it's physical topology. We've got these spheres. So we're going to merge down. Beep, beep. Merge this down. We don't need any UVing, so merge down and okay. And so now what we got is this. And then I'm going to tell ZBrush to remesh by union. So run the Boolean process on this so that everything is welded. Right, so it becomes a solid surface for us is what I'm wanting to try and do here. All right, and then I can even dynamesh it. And then now see, this is now a solid surface. Right, so that's why now you can't see inside there, or at the bottom. It is now all one big happy little family for it. So now the backpack needs to definitely come off more. I think it needs to live more like in that world. Something more like that. Then I say, let's look at this. All right. Let's take this polygroup, Let's mask those off. Let's extrude out. Okay. So let's make this be clean. All right. So let's take this and this polygroup. everything else can get masked off. Let's mask off everything else here. And then this right here, let's go ahead and deformation, polish by the groups. So we just get a nice clean result there, like that. Then I can, now when I extrude out, we'll have the nice result that I want to go all the way into there. Perfect. Okay, and now I got to make a decision, you know, something else I might want to do with this. Now, you know, we'll see what this looks like. Let's see, we got the backpack. Let's duplicate the backpack. Okay, the jacket's up here. So let's move that up to here. I'm going to rename this backpack cut. All right, let's look at this. Okay, so we got some nice clean topology right here. Perfect. So let's slice this out. I'm just going to make it, let's just use a slice curve, something like this. All right. And then I don't need it to be a Dynamesh anymore. And then we'll delete the hidden of it. Let's give it some more topology a little bit. So let's go to ZModeler. Let's insert multiple edge loops. We'll keep the polygrouping as is. Just add some more spans in there. And then now let's Q mesh this out. We'll say polygroup all for now. So we have something like this. So we got is this. Right. Okay. Yeah. So what I'm thinking here is I wonder what it'll look like if now we turn this into a subtract on the jacket. And make this come all the way out. So it looks like the backpack is fitting into the jacket a little bit. Right, a little bit more. Looks like what I need to do is still, okay, we want these faces not to be exactly on the backpack. So let's push this in, and then let's pull these faces out a little bit more. And then that way we're not colliding there, and now we're getting this kind of a thing. And so it just looks like the backpack's connected in. I went a little too aggressive here. I think we want to do, we'll see. I haven't decided, because I think if I have this mesh too, I'll be able to do things with it. Okay, maybe something like that. Okay, the jacket is getting punctured here, so we need this to come out more. Whoops. So you know what? I think I'm going to, looking at this, let's also, yeah, let's slice here. And then let's do this. Let's make sure we got better clearance in there. There. Okay, now we've got this jacket going. Definitely want to fix this. Brush move topological. Hello. Happy to see you as well, Motion Bug. As always, again, everybody, let me know if you have some questions about anything you'd like to talk about. Happy to help where I can help. Let's do this. Kind of want this to look a little more like that. Let's push this back. To be more like something like that. Something like this. You know what? I'm intrigued to see what this is going to look like. Let's start adding some color in here, I think, because I'm going to go with an orange on the jacket for sure. What orange do I want to go with? All right, and then I think I don't want to go with Madcap Gray. I want to see maybe something. Let's go with basic material. I want it to be shiny. All right, so let's brush. No, let's do MRGB. Jacket is selected. Color fill the object. All right, let's go and edit the material a little bit here. Like this, modifiers. And I say I want more diffuse to come through, more ambient. Spec is fine. Kind of want it to be more shinier orange, maybe less ambient. That's too much. That's not enough. Let's see what we got here. Something like this, I guess, would work for me. But I also think I'm intrigued what this would look like. Let's do strength of 1, and then let's do 2 steps, 3 steps. Okay. I might want to go tune-like with this guy, actually. And then in the mixer, let's turn on posterizing. No, let's just turn on the outline. So we get this outline. And play with the depth a little bit. And then now it's more like a toon model. I don't know. I don't know if I want this or not, but okay, so now this is applied. Let's play with some of the, let's copy this material. All right, and then let's pick another random material, here, chrome. Let's paste the material. All right, and then let's pick a different color. Let's go more this color. Let's see, do I want to go a little bit lighter? You know, like a kind of like some kind of little kind of beige color. I'll find it, don't you worry. All right. Let's do a blending color. Colorize diffuse. Now I can play with this even a little bit more. There we go. And then now more diffuse. Yeah, I want to live more in that world. There we go. Now I've really cranked the diffuse up. Let's go 1. What if I do more ambient? Okay, I like it with more ambient. All right, so then let's put this as the collar material. So let's fill that. I'd be intrigued. What do you guys think? What do you think if we go this route? We make it more more cartoon-ish style, right? Because then also when we render, we're going to have this ability too. And I think the jacket, let's see what we got here. We're at 400. What if I divide it up a little bit more? Just so it's, and then now I can even play with this. I think maybe the stepping might be a little too much on the jacket, I think. Right, so let's click and drag, get this material. Again, right now we'll do this, so everything else does that. And let's look again with the diffuse. I think what does it look like for 2 steps? I think too many steps, it kind of gets, you know, the banding that I really don't want. I think one's okay. I think 2 might be our answer, right? 0.5. Let's go 1, and then let's also in the spec channel, let's also do a step on it, and let's see, a step of 2 probably. In fact, probably 1 is enough. Okay, now we got this shinier jacket doing this. Right, so we can open it up more if we want, or less. I think less is more here, right? You know, I want to try, let's reset it, and then just use focal shift. And then put the strength back on. And the stepping back on. It's interesting. I think I might like going the Toon way. Right, it's just something different. Not always the same old. Right, and then in the rendering, when we go to render, I'm going to go with, on the character, let's go half the strength, so 50. We don't need any raise, we don't need any angle. And then the render properties, let's make it be a flat shadow as well. And let's make the shadow have some blue in it. And then so when we render, there, we'll get something like that now. And that's our, what do you guys think? What would Sid Mead do? I love it. I'm a massive fan of him. I got a ton of Sid Mead stuff for sure. And it's looking pretty cool. It's just something different, right? And then I'll be able to do more with this for sure. I think I'm going to stick with this thought process, okay? Let's see. I need this. Yeah, this is now gonna come out a lot more. There. I'm kind of liking this. I'm kind of thinking yes. Okay, so this is shiny, right? So let's copy. Should we probably stay true and make this spec have a stepping as well? Yes. But I think do I even want a specularity on this? I don't know if I even want one on this. I think because I want it to be kind of a different type of material, like it's more of like a cloth material. I think I'm gonna go that way out. And then what if I do now actually for this, give some more steps. So just I get something that can create different types of results here. Or because it's a different material, I want it to have, yeah, okay. I prefer that, okay. Let's So I'm going to start saving a project now because I'm doing a lot with the rendering. I'm doing a lot other stuff right here. So let's start saving projects. So let's see. I have put him in here. So saving it. Okay, now that we have a project, that way it's saving my materials, it's saving my render settings, it's saving everything. Okay, so let's grab this material. I prefer this material for the metals. Okay, so let's paste over fast shader. I'm not going to use that. Paste material. And then now, obviously, do I want to go like a darker gray with him? I don't know yet. I think this is where now I need to start putting him together a little bit more. I think I like the stepping. I'm okay with this. Yeah, I think this base material that's also aligned with the jacket, we can start with this, I think. I think we'll eventually maybe change it a little bit just because it is a different material. It's like it's metal, so it should have a little bit of variation in there. Right? And then maybe I want more spec. It's a little bit hotter. And then maybe a stepping of 2. We'll see as we start building this out if this is the route to go or not. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be too much. And I don't know if I like a stepping of 2. I think I kind of do like the stepping of 2. And just it's a little too much for my britches. Yeah. Okay. Let's do a stepping of 2. Okay. All right. So now that I got these materials, if I'm going to go this route with him, right, and then there's going to be things I'm going to do at render time as well to pump this out more, right? So what I mean by that is I'm going to do some more stuff at render time itself as well. Okay, wait. Okay, John, you're saying you like the direction I'm going. Good, thank you for that. Good feedback. I don't know. I think I'm going to go more this toon-like dude. I think it'll be fun. How to make double action brush. Can you expand upon that? What do you mean by double action brush? Motion bug. Yeah, I think you're I think Pictured, you're right. I think higher than 2 for this just isn't going to work. Again, they'll probably step back on it. But I know what I'm probably also going to do is I'm going to start using the filter system here too. And it could be something where here we go, this direction. So you guys can see where my head is going. We'll make it green. And then the filter type, we don't want noise. Let's do outline edge even here. Okay, and we want to come this direction. So everywhere there's green, right, is another edge outline. And see, I can create thickness this way as well. Do I want more of it or less of it? Right, and then really what I want is the black. Right, just really giving it a little bit thicker line so there's variation in the line there that makes it kind of pop more, that this is more trying to be a 2D image for sure, I would say. It would be interesting to, I just want to see what this would look like. Let's see, what if we use some colorized? Let's do a red. Let's only do it on the model and let's Fresnel it. I don't know if I'm going to like this because I think it's going to get away from the toon look too much. But it's like almost like, it's like a fake light that I can use. But I think it's going to be, we're going to need to find the right blend. Linear dodge. Linear burn. That's interesting. And again, nice that I can turn it on and off, on and off. Right? It's just adding another element in there. We'll see. I don't know. And then maybe what else I'll do is we'll definitely want to put a sharpening on this. So it'll sharpen everything up ridiculous. Right? So sharpening on, sharpening off, sharpening on, sharpening off, sharpening on. And then maybe even throw an Orton on this, because then it's really pushing this 2D element. And then maybe not so much. What if I Fresnel it? I'm intrigued. Huh. I don't know which one I like better. Okay. That's cool. And then do I want to put a blur on this? So let's crank it up. Let's throw a radius on this. Let's make it by depth. Let's right now do just, this will change because this is also using based upon where I'm at. And then now probably knock the radius down to more like a 2 radius, or even maybe even 1. And now there's a little bit. So in essence, when I'm making this, anytime I really want to say, hey, what's my final render starting to lean towards? Okay, and then obviously if I'll throw perspective on, then I can start do a render, okay, and see, okay, that's where I'm going to end up in essence, right? As I start now to build him out more and more and more and more and more and more. And then these, maybe we just make black. Let's see what that looks like. Shift R. Yeah, I'm okay with that color right now. Okay, so we're going to fill that color on that one. We're going to fill that color on that one. Let's go back to more. That way, that's now very dark or gray, right? And then that way it's also not going to live in the world of him, per se. And again, when I render him, okay, let's now file, let's do save next, which you can see is Option Control S, save next. Okay, so let me see the question here by Motion Bug. You were asking, can you explain how to make double action brush? I see you haven't replied yet. And then the happy extruder, you put higher than 2 seams to blend edge. Okay, so again, Motion Bug, if you're still here, can you expand upon your question? I'm not following what type of brush you're trying to get. Okay, so now let's start cleaning up some of these pieces that I started to make, so we really start to see him come to life. Okay, so let's start with the eyes. They're so important, and for sure in here. Okay, so let's go with, all right, we're going to do this. Let's separate this out. Let's start splitting. Right, we're going to look at this. Okay, we're going to come out of perspective so that I can start using some other brushes in here for us. So I'm just going to do a slice. So we got different polygroups here. Let's do a little bit of a cleaning on this. So let's polish it by groups. So we just get a cleaner model here. All right. That's probably clean enough. Then let's go ahead and Z-remesh this. 5 is enough. Let's keep the groups. Z-remesh it. Okay, now we're going to have really clean topology for us here. Okay, I do not like this little dip that's happening in there, so let's solve that. That is an easy solve. Let's delete. I'm just going to use the front of this now. Let's delete hidden. Okay, see it's not flat. Let's just make this simple on me. Well, there's multiple ways we could go about this. We could use this, the gizmo, if we wanted to, position it where I want it, and then just pull, right, like that. Or I could just make my life even easier. I'm going to just use clip curve, and then just say clip it. So now they're perfectly flat. Switch to Z modeler. I'm going to now QMesh polygroup all, pull that out. Right, and then I also want it to go this direction. So that way it's sitting, and then now this is going to look even better now, render-wise. And now let's take this another level as well. Let's solo this out. Let's say I want to now insert a single. Let's make a nice little beveling here. I say maybe we go a little bit deeper. Something like that. Okay. Sorry, excuse me. It's still, I got that cold again. And I'm going to say crease, crease, crease. Smooth it out. And now it is very, very smooth. And now we are dynamically, let's do a smooth of 5. So it's super clean. And do we want to put a little bit of softness in there? I don't think so, because we're going tune. So I want that edge right there to be really sharp. Right, this is where I don't know if we'll do the, right, the material wise. I don't know about the multiple steppings. Right, in the spec, I think we're going to have to see. We are going to have to experiment with this, I think. I guess maybe we'll keep it where I was at for now. Right there, that's a nice clean piece now. We've got that. All right, let's take this eye part now. So let's start naming things off. So rename front eye cover. All right, and now let's break this one off. Oops. Let's now select this piece. Let's go ahead and split hidden. Again, actually, what would be a better decision here, actually, now that I think about it, is let's just delete this. Let's copy this. Let's duplicate it. Rename main eye socket. Right. Okay. You guys are quiet today. All right, and then let's solo this out. And then I would say I want. Let's go from. Let's say split, 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 split. Let's just do a slice. Oh, why do it that way? Let's just insert with creasing on. Let's do that. Now I don't need any of this. That's good enough. Let's delete hidden. Let's go here. Let's close this concavely, one line. I don't want that many. Let's do one span. Let's make it one solid polygroup. Okay, and now the red is something now we can QMesh polygroup off. And then that is now sitting in the exact same spot as this. All right, and then now I just need to put this, move this back where I want this to sit in the space. You want right about, I'll go right about there. And then again, the green, I want it to expand out even more. There we go. Something like that. So now that one is clean as well. Let's have some fun, a little bit more fun with this. Again, let's say insert. I'll put an edge there. Put an edge there. And then I'm inserting and creasing at the same time. So when I delete, I'm getting that. I think in the back here, let's also do that. Let's do something more like that. And I think let's also take this and let's pull this out. Make that a new poly group. All right, and then now this, and then delete, delete, and then this. Let's go ahead and increase this so that now there's like just some other little element there. All right. Yes. Okay. I think we're in a good path, right? I don't know if I'm going to go how much Johnny number 5 I'm going to go, right? Because we could look at Johnny number 5, this part in here, right? It's got this repeating thing. I don't know if I'm going to do that. We'll see. I'm just going to clean up these pieces right now and then work on then starting to add some detailing into this. That's my goal right now, is to keep cleaning up these pieces as I move along. All right. Alrighty then. Let's package this up. All right, so we've got the front of the eye, the main eye. Let's take this one again. Let's duplicate it. I'm going to put it here in the bottom. Let me rename this eye cut. Excuse me. All right. And I want now this. Let's recenter these. Let's throw dynamic on so I can make it smaller, not too much smaller. Let's pull it out, and now it's going to be a subtract. Let's go probably about that much. Okay. Then I'm going to come in here and let's go with see, I want to go with, let me see this again. Okay, I want, okay, internally. All right. So now what I want is, I think I'm going to want this here. Let's get rid of this. Let's delete hidden that. All right, let's close this off again. Let's just close that off. Good enough. Let's do a slice so I can just instantly get the polygroups that I want. I'm going to do a slice curve. I'm going to say right about there. And then I want this to crease. A complete edge loop of this. And then I want this to actually do something like that. And then that is going to create, all right. Okay, so we want this to now move a lot more further. I'm going past? Yeah, I'm going past. Let's get all of this. I want that. And then eventually we'll put some text around there, I think. Okay, that's good. I'm all right with that. All right. Then we are going to need some more element here. I like where we're going. I like where we're headed. Let's duplicate this. Let's look at this. Let's make sure we are centered. Okay, and then I am going to replace this with a cube that needs to be centered way down. Something like, let's go, let's see, how big do I want this? I think that's probably good enough. All right, W key, so we can turn it into that. Dynamically, I'm going to actually use the Q grid this time. It's a little too much coverage. I want it to definitely be a lot skinnier. Whoops. I think that's probably skinny enough. Yeah, I think that's skinny enough. All right, and then now, whoops. Okay, I'm saving the project. Always good. And then now I want this to live kind of in that part of the world. Then I want this to kind of be more of a fanned out idea. And then comes down. And then let's, this is where I think if I do this, I'm going to want to turn off this. Because I want this. I think I want it to. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. All right. And then this. Let's make an angle here. Oops. Where do we go? Oops, I didn't get everything. Get everything that time? Yes, I did. It's just going to create this type of thing. I want that plane change. I think it's going to be still too thick. Let's center it. Let's make it a lot skinnier. I think that's good. Might do a little something there to accent this shift here even more. We'll see. Maybe I'll do something like, let's see what this just looks like. I think I'll wait for that to make that decision. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to want this. Let's now go to an array. Array mesh. Let's array it. I'm going to lock these down. I'm going to make a transpose. I'm going to say rotate. I want to rotate along the Z. Yes, I want to rotate around the Z. 360 degrees. And I want more of them. Okay. So, because it's symmetrical, I'm going to change this up. I'm going to delete. Let's delete this first. And I'm going to do something else instead. I am going to, because I don't want both. I don't want both being. So I'm going to delete the one side. So now that we have this. Okay. And so, in essence, no symmetry. Let's keep it like this. In fact, I could do this and then center it, and then that's centered. Okay. And then now let's go ahead and turn our array mesh on. Then now let's 360. I might want to be negative 360 depending. I'll see. 360 that. Okay. What I want to look at is, okay, the pivot point. I want it to come down. I don't want the pivot point to live there. I want the pivot point to kind of live more there. So we want this to stay at 0 right now, I would say. I'm going to want 0.45, 0.48, let's live there. We need more of them. Something like this. Let's come back to here. Okay, now that we're looking at this, then I want to lean them forward a little bit. I think let's size them down a lot more. And then let's rotate it. Or so it does that. And then now start looking at this very differently. Okay, now let's size them up. So we get something a little bit more like that. Okay. Definitely want them to live more inside the eye. More there. All right. And then our pivot. I think it's good there. That. But now I think I need to size it down just a little bit more. Here we go. There we go. And then now I think that we'll need a darker gray tone color. A little bit more down that direction. And RGB that. Okay. Color fill object. And then when I made this, I did not have where I want it centered. So we'll take care of that later. Okay. I did moving around too soon on this. Kind of like that. So let's go ahead. I'm fine with that. Let's make that a mesh. Now I can center. Now I want this to be more in this realm. More there. It's kind of his eye in there. And then now, obviously, I just need the other side mirror and weld it over. Oops, I don't need symmetry local on. And then there. We'll see where we go with that. Then let's call this, rename this eye flaps. We'll call that eye flaps. I am using I'm using the 36-inch right now, but I also have the 24-inch. I have the newest 24-inch, and then I have the generation before the 24-inch. So that's what I'm using right now. Right now I'm on the 36, which I'm not complaining about. Not at all. All right. We are going to then now, let's duplicate this. Let's turn on symmetry. I'm going to use a ring 3D here. Oh, let's turn on local. So I can size this up to where I want that to be. All right, and then I think I'm going to play more spans, less spans this way. Let's do that. Okay, and then do I want it to be more like that? Because then that will probably stand out better. Let's do that. And then let's do this. We're going to turn this into a sphere. All right, and then smaller, stretch it out, push it in. Flatten it, maybe even there. But let's split this off. And then this will be rename a ball. Okay, and let's look at just this. Let's not make it have grid on. Let's allow it to have this smoothness. I prefer the smoothness. And then let's switch to flatten in here. Flatten. And then, oops, I gotta accept the first change I did. Alright. Interested in the accept. Okay. Just doing a kind of flatten area, so just we'll change it a little bit. I'm going to make that kind of glow. So I don't know what color I'm going to use yet, but like for example, we might want to use a red, right? And then that also then will help us see the differences between the elements as well. I'm going to make that glow. I don't think I'll go with red because it's not friendly, right? We're probably better off going with a different color. Like, what is a friendly color? And then I'll probably do an emissive on that. I just don't know. I think blue could be interesting. Let's see. I think for now I'll just stick with blue. For now. I will stick with a blue. Okay, and then for the sake of rendering, I want to put, so that also it kind of reflects and bounces. I'm going to put something else in the eye here for like a lens, a glass clear element in here as well. All right, so I will just duplicate this, rename this eye lens. Okay, we got that. Aviation eyes. Then this is going to come forward out. Then we will use, I think what we'll use, I think we'll use this. Let's use this. And it needs to get squashed. I'm going to make it squashed big time. I want it maybe not that squashed. I want a little bit of curvature in there. And I'm intrigued if I get rid of that edge loop. Right, it'll create a little more of like a different bulge look to it. Again, this will, I want to make that transparent, right? Might as well, we'll take a look at kind of where I'm going with the rendering. Okay, this is where we're at. I think that's going to look pretty dope. Okay. I would say I'm at a good point for the eyes. I don't want to keep the lens on, right? Because it's going to end up being, I'm not going to dive deep into that yet. I need to just start finishing off the elements of him. And then that way I can start putting some details in him too. All right, let's move on to the head. Let's move this off. Let's split this now. Rename mouth. Okay, we need to remake this. I'm going to clean this up now as well. Because it definitely is not the clean shape that I want. I don't like what's happening right there, so we'll have to fix that. Have it on that side now. Okay. Alright, so let's see. We could go a couple routes with this. Alright. We could Z-modeler. Let's say polygroup, flat island. And then just, there's multiple polygroups. Alright. And then that'll help me deformation. Kind of polish this a little bit. Okay. Let's see what we get. Let's give it a try. Alright, geometry. Let's just do a quick Z-remesh. Let's keep those groups. Remesh it. Let's see what we get. Alright. Kind of okay, not the best. Still. Right, so this one's got some problemos. So maybe we look at just the blue portion. Alright. So I don't like this right here. So I'll make that blue. Alright, and then now let me remesh this. See what we get. Better. Okay, so now let's go half. Let's do another half. There we go. Now we're getting better. Another half. Let's see if I want to go this low. Okay, that's enough. Right, and then again, I only care about this. Modify topology, delete hidden, brush Z modeler, Q mesh this out based upon our polygrouping in this scenario. So I'll come out a little bit more. So we create this, which means I want this to kind of sit more in there. And then there's his little, some better mouthpiece. Right, I'm gonna go, let's have this go a little bit deeper into his, yeah, I think there's good. All right, let's look at it now in this sense. Let's take this, do one of these. I'll have a little ridge there now. Right, and then let's once again, let's insert an edge here, but let's do it with a creased edge and a creased edge. Let's get rid of it. There we go. For sake of always staying on top of my polygrouping, I'm going to re-polygroup that again. Oh, interesting. There we go. And then he'll want this creased. I don't want that creased. Let's see what is going on here. Okay, it is welded. Right. I'll just do a normal bevel like this. I don't like it. I don't like it. When we now divide it up, and I want creasing on the edging everywhere. So it gives me something more like that. And then this I do want to soften. Just a tad. Let's see how much. I think that's too much. We'll go with 3. All right, and then now this purple part. All right, I'm going to use this. Let's center that, and then let's just, oops, let's extrude with scale. Oops, go in the wrong direction. A little too extreme. Okay, so I'm in scale mode. I'm gonna hold the control key and move it just a little bit to get an inset. Oops, I flipped it. I need to have a mask. That would usually help. Keep flipping it. Really sucks being sick too. What the heck? Alright, hold on. Let me look at this. There, I've got a mask. Okay, I go on scale. Oh, that's fine. I keep hitting the wrong circle. That's on me. Whoa. Something like that. And then center that. Let's also bring it in. This. Then I'm going to extrude that in. And let's bring it in. Let's bring it down. Now we got something like that happening. Don't know if I like that. I think I like it just being more flat. I think there, that's actually I'm okay with that. Let's move on. I'm alright with that. Alright, now this guy, let's take a look what we got here. Alright, let's split this off for sure. Alright. We'll split this now, rename this main head. Okay. Alright, I see some of you are still here with me. Obviously, if you've got questions, keep them coming, keep them asked. Okay, so I am going to try and help myself a little bit here, as much as I can. Alright. So, let's take a look. Let's save this. So we got a saved version at this point. Done a lot of work on this. I'm going to knife curve this so it creates a clean result. I'm going to knife curve across the bottom. So we get a nice, cleaner result there. Let's go up a little bit more. And I'm going to come across here. So just get some cleaner topology for me in there. Okay, okay, good, good, good. Now in here, let's do a knife rectangle instead. Okay, we need it to be symmetrical. Do I have symmetry on? Oh, yes, right. Let's go. That, and it looks like I went too far. Mirror and welded. Okay, there. That way we got a nice clean result there. We got a nice clean result there. Let's make this its own polygroup. Polygroup flat island. So we have something like that. And then let's make sure these are also the same polygroup. I don't like what it's done there. Make sure you got on the same size. Okay. Let's do a little bit of a polish here. Just this area. Polish by groups. Oops. Okay, the cut we got there is causing us a little bit of grief here. Well, let's see. Let's see if I really care. Really want to spend my time on this or not. Good, 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 good. Okay. Now we need, I'm gonna need to push this idea a little bit more in here. Let's see what we got here. Let's look at the Dynamesh. We don't want to keep the groups. Okay, let's not keep the groups and let's go a lot higher. So that way, brush, pinch. Let's pinch and kind of really define this edge a little bit more. Okay, which means I want this edge also defined a little bit more. Now we have that happening. Okay. Alright. Ideally, what I would want for temporarily, let's look at it this way. This will be a little bit more flat. Let's see what's going to be our best approach to solve this for me. Oops. Could do something like this. Let's see what this does for me. Better. It's a little bit better. Brush the modeler. That could help a little bit there. All right. And then now let's polish. Let's do this locally so I don't ruin everything else. Let's do a smooth. Let's weight it like this. Let's just smooth this out a little bit more. I don't like how much it's. I think I'm going to need some more topology. Oops, I don't want that. Let's do it. Okay. Now let's see what our handy dandy keep groups again ZBrush gives us. Let's see what it gives us. I need to give it more topology. Huh. It's actually not that bad at all. Definitely need to polish this down here first. Right, so let's do a little bit of a groups by polishing here. Let's go a little bit stronger. Okay, there. Let's do that. And then now let's see, remeshing. Now let's do our remesh. What up, Matt? How are you? Okay, now we have this. Let's turn on dynamic. We got this happening. Looks pretty good. All right. Let's crease it. Good old poly grouping. Really make that stuff accent more. Let's definitely get smoother topology. And I think I will soften the edging up. Yeah. What if I go 1? No, I think 2. And then there. And now we have at least the clean head version of what I started with. Okay, so now we have that, okay, looks good, I like it. All right, now let's start moving down the neck. This should be pretty easy. So what I'm gonna do something different this time. Oh, what's that blue thing there? Oh, that groups on, right? Okay. I gotta make this easier on me since I kind of got this where it's set where I want it to be. I'm gonna duplicate this. Let's go to volume 3. So let's turn these on. Don't want the body on. I only want this. And here we go. And what I'm gonna say is let's select the middle of the green. Dead center, make sure we're dead center, yeah. Okay. And then now let's replace with a cube. That is a clean topology. Let's turn on our transparency. And yep, and now all I gotta do is I need it to go out. There, that's far enough. Far enough to here. And then let's go there. Now I just do this, and then now let's grab a cylinder. Let's flip it this way. Now it needs to be sized down, not that much. And then a lot smaller. I'm going with a lot smaller, okay. Let's start using creasing with some dynamic on so we can see really what this is going to look like. And then now we do another one of these. Size this up. Make this a lot smaller. Oops. To about there. Let's inverse. So make a new. That's a new polygroup. All right. We definitely want more divisions here, for sure. All right. Now we can take the yellow, center it, make sure it's this way. Okay, good to go. Push this in. Align it now with that one. Let's do 45 degrees. Let's go here. I'll move it to the end of the cube. A cylinder. It's not a cube, Paul. It's a cylinder. And then there's that one. And let's make that a new polygroup as well. Let's go back to this. Center this. This is now centered. All right. And then now I want another cylinder. Boop, 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 boom. And then I want it to be somewhere around somewhere around there. And then now this is my new mesh, right? That I no longer need this one. And now this is my new mesh that I have, right, for this. And now if we go back to 1, that is now that. And then we can get rid of this one now, because now we've got cleaned topology. Okay. Sorry about my sniffles. It's just, I still got it. Still got those snifflings. Let's do 3. Let's do right now. Let's do a couple tests here. I don't like this. This is where I don't like what's happening there with that speck on that cylinder. We'll figure that out. Let's not do that right now. Okay. So we want, let's start beveling some stuff up in here. I definitely want that beveled. Let's do the same there. Let's do the same there. Same there. Same, whoops, same bevel there. So they all have the same bevel. Hey, let's keep it consistent. Let's keep the bottom beveled. Let's crease it by the old PG'er. Now we got that, which will be good. Okay. And then now, let's start making this make a little bit more sense for us here. All right, so let's start thinking about this now. All right, we might need this to be bigger, this one here. All right, so let's start splitting this off. All right, so we'll call this neck joint. All right, and if I go a lot bigger with this, does it look weird? I think if we push it back more, it's a little bit better. Okay, how's the silhouette looking? Let's see how that silhouette is looking. I think we're good. All right. You know, for giggles, we haven't done it in a while. Let's do a render and just see all of our filters kicking in. All right. Okay, cool. He's becoming a sticker. We should probably make this a sticker when we're done. Right? That's what I'm seeing. Okay. So, I want now this to sit there. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to make this now a subtract. And rename neck joint. Let's call this cut. And now I want this to get larger. Because I want, like, what's happening right there, I want to start happening. Okay, and there. All right. I think we don't go so much there. Okay, that's not bad at all. I like the back. Like that. All right. Now my question would be for me, do I want to get more squared in certain spots? Let's see. Or would it be better just to do a cube as well? Maybe. Could be interesting. Let's see what that looks. Let's try. I want to try that. Let's duplicate this just so. Center it. Let's take a cube. We got a cube. Let's go ahead and crease it so it stays a cube. Let's size this down. Straight across like this. Just getting something that's just creating a little bit better. Okay, so let's go really wide, and then let's say it lives more there. Okay, hold on. Let's put an edge in here so I can use it. Single edge loop. Let's snap halfway to the center. That way I can now use, and let's actually put another one here, put another one here, put another one here. That way I can align this now and then really look at this and say, okay, that's going up, I think. Do I want something more like that? Oops. Let me center it. Okay, I like what it's doing in the front, but it's not colliding with the back. Right, so is it going to be better to do something more like that? Okay, I prefer that. Faux show. Alright, and let me look and see on the bottom. It is doing straight there. So I think what we need to do is let's do this. So also put an edge there. That way I can snap to this. And then that way I can pull this up. So now it's not affecting the bottom one. And now let's duplicate this. And I want this one to affect it on a different angle, like a 45-degree angle instead. So then I have something like that. And then there we go. Okay. Perfect. So then I have clearance where you can see where this would, right, how it would go around. And I think we'll go a little bit higher with this one. We'll do something like that. Okay, I'm okay with that. That is good to go for me. All right. Wow, you guys, no questions at all, man. We're just rocking and rolling here, eh? Just rocking and rolling. All right, let's take this and think about this now. Let's see, do I want to make it the same mesh? Do I want to do the same mesh? Okay, let's make sure symmetry's on. Let's insert. I definitely want it creased. Okay, but I don't want it to crease the internals, so let's just do it this way first. We'll make those be new polygroups. Then we're going to need to Q mesh this off. Out by polygroup. I'm just going to go way out first so I can see if the sizing that I did is going to work. It's pretty close. Pretty close. So then let's slide. No, let's Q mesh it by polygroup. That way we got that. Okay. And then let's take both these sides and kind of push them in more. So it lives a little bit more like that. I'm going to have to do something else maybe here. I think we'll look. There might be something there I need to do. So let's bevel these. Then we can crease this. So it gives me that. Let's sell this a little bit better. And then let's do this one by creased. Let's do no snapping. Oh, I have masking on right now. Oh, I have intensity of 1. That's not good. Let's do that. Let's Q mesh by the poly looping. Let's just sell this a little bit better. And then let's go ahead and bevel it. Add that bevel. And then now we'll crease it. Now we've got this, so at least it's kind of selling. That's on its own. Barrett. All right, and I think I want to add one more element here. Let's add something like this, and something like this. Whoops. And then shrink it, Control W, shrink it, Control W. Then let's Q mesh this polygroup all out. So it creates this little nub in here. Then we'll insert this. Then crease it. So we have this. And then let's make another one. Yeah, it's creasing because of the polling. It's creasing faces, edges I don't want creased. And then we'll crease. And then do this. Let's make this be a new polygroup. And then we will Q mesh this out a little bit. And then we're going to insert. I'll just do an insert there. Do an insert there. We'll do it this way. Okay. Now we've got something like that. I think I want to accentuate this a little bit more. So we'll do creasing there. Let's do an insert with a creased edge here. And I think I want this Q mesh polyloop to pop off just a bit. So it starts to create a little bit more of something interesting. Let's do an insert. Let's do a quarter. Might need to do, I think we're going to have to do every 6th. Okay. There. And then Q mesh this up, but just make it have that. And then voila. All right. Neck piece done. Okay, to the point where I'm good to go to move on. Okay, so this has now become a problem because I've changed this up a lot, and now it's obviously colliding with this. So I gotta think about this. Should I now, right, looking at this, let's now go to this portion. And let's take another look at this now. I think all I care about is this piece, this, and this. Okay, those. And let's split these off. Let's split these off and let's rename these neck pistons. And what I'm also going to do is let's actually get rid of this one. Let's get rid of that. Excuse me, sorry. We're going to split that off. Split it up. Split hidden. Where am I going? My brain needs to function right now. Delete hidden. Then I'm going to say brush, insert, let's grab here, let's grab a sphere. And then right on this point, I'm just going to draw out a sphere. Right, and then that is on the point. And then now I have it centered, clear it. This is now what I have. Okay, it's too big. So we got to go a lot smaller. Go a little bit bigger here. We got to go to there. Okay. So now when I rotate, I'm rotating based upon that sphere. Okay, so I think we got to go out to there. Right? And then this sphere needs to move in more to align with what I'm doing here. All right, now let's see what we got. All right, that's not too bad for me. I want to have clearance on the neck. For sure is what I want. Right. It has clearance everywhere. And it's intersecting a little bit there. Okay, that works for me. All right. And then let's double check up here. And then now, let's go and center to this. And let's mask that one out. Let's just play a little bit more like this. Okay, good, good. Good there, good there. Not colliding, it's close, but it's not colliding. Let's take now this guy. Let's look at this being masked off. Bring everything back, inverse the mask. Oh, let's make sure this is masked. Let's center it. We need to center. Actually, ZModeler will do this for what I want. We'll just do a move, flat island. Move it until we get, why do I want something more in that realm? Not that much. So what I now need is, let's put this, let's get rid of this. We don't need this. Let's get rid of that. Delete hidden. Let's go to this. Okay, that's what we got. Here's it smooth. Let's crease it where we want it to be creased. So now it's creased. The Metaluna alien. Run that one by me again. Yeah, this is inspired by Short Circuit. Yes, it's inspired by Johnny. Number 5 is alive. 100%. Yes. That's what I got him inspired by, for sure. I'm glad that's at least being seen. Obviously, also, I have images, of course, of Johnny number 5 sitting here. So, all right, and then let's position these in a spot where I want them to rather live more. Whoops. Or like that. And then, yeah, we're good there, we're good there. All right, and then now he's clean, clean, clean. Let's make this be clean. So which means we want to go in now. I want to accentuate some of this stuff a little bit more. So let's go ahead and crease. Let's crease this, let's crease this, let's crease this. Let's insert something there, something there. Let's Q-mesh. Poly this down just a little bit. It's going to help with the rendering. Then I can do this, and then do that. Oops. Do this, get rid of it. Everything's creased. So when it's smooth, see that's what I'm looking for. The rendering will pop a little bit more. That we're doing here, which obviously I'm convinced. I think I'm going to stick with the Tomb shade look. I'm kind of enjoying it. Let's see, and then let's see. Do I want? Do I even care about that? Maybe I'll go smaller. We'll see. We'll see. All right, and then this. Let's do that. Let's do that. There. Let's put one here. Put one down here. Let's delete that. Let's do an insert again here. Here. Probably loop that down. And then let's make this be, whoops. And just deleting as I go. Turn on dynamic, see what that's starting to look like. Like I want the selling of these are pistons to pop a little bit more. And the tune shade's going to help us because of the stuff that we're doing with the tune shading, of course. All right. And then this sphere is, let's see, is this a good sphere? Yep. Let's see, dynamically, we need a lot more dynamics. So it creates a better result for sure. And I think down here, let's do something like this. Okay. I'm thinking, you know what? Actually, what if we did a little ridge here instead? Then, do I want to delete like the ridge and have it do that? And then maybe now insert a creased edge. Yeah, I think that works for me. In that realm. Okay. And now what I want to do is this sphere. Let's take just this sphere. And then let's center it. But let's center it based upon that flow. And now center. And then that way, when I pull on the green, I'm doing something like this now. In the angle that I want. Okay. And then now, my question would be, do I want to do something like that? Nope. I gotta be careful here. Because when I do that rotation, okay, when I do that rotation, okay, so what if I reset it? Okay. Yeah, that's working for me. Okay, I just want to solve now this problem. Let's solve that problem. All right, so what could be a better way to solve this is, realistically, let's do this actually. Let's see, let's just split this off for now. And then I'm going to say now, let's use this, right? Let's use this center of that. Then it's dead centered, the gizmo's aligned, right? The gizmos are aligned. I'm going to make a copy of this piston, but then I'm going to swap it out for this sphere. And then this sphere has the ability to be flat, like so. And then we want to do this. Let's go a lot smaller. And then this size. Excuse me, sorry. You want to be round, and now we have back to this. Let's turn this off. Now let's go to this, and then of course it's up there, so this will stretch like so. And then now I'll just rotate it in. And now I won't run into that same problem that we were running into with the other sphere, because now the top is flat. Perfect. So then we don't need this. Delete. Boom. All right. Okay, wait, there were some questions that are coming through. All right. Do I plan to do a through axle? Do you plan to add through axles on the neck parts with bearings? Maybe. Yeah, that's kind of what I was setting up. I was thinking about maybe doing some kind of repeating, like in here, right? Like what I was thinking is maybe some sphere right in here, right? So here, to your point, let's try it. We could go multiple edge loops. Let's actually make this a new poly group. And then let's get rid of this. And then let's Q mesh this in. Okay. Something like this. All right. And then in here, we'll bevel this. And we'll bevel this. All right. So keep that consistency. Crease by PG. Let's go insert. Let's go here. Let's turn this into a nano now. Nano mesh. Here's the spheres. Right. Okay. And then I'm going to say this poly group here. Let's put spheres on it. Okay. And then now in the nano world, could now just size them up. Be a little bit more around that size. And now the offset needs to sit more in. This is what you're referring to? Something like this? I'm assuming this is what you're thinking of. Something like that. Which, in the grand scheme of things, then it'll look like that. Not bad. All right, I think I'll keep that. Again, I just want to keep moving on. All right, let's see where we're at with the render. Let's do a render. And there's where we're at with our render. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. I think I'm gonna stay tuned. I just think this is a fun way to go about this. A little tip of the hat of the 80s again too. That's a tune shader. So the head and the neck, that's pretty much clean topology. I gotta clean up the chest and really make the chest pop better. So I need to clean that topology up now a little bit more. But let me look at the questions, because unfortunately I'm going to have to get going here soon. This is Johnny number 5 from the short circuit stuff for sure. Alien island Earth. Okay, that's what you're referring to. Metaluna aliens. Let me see what that is again. Let me put that up in here. Just so I probably know how it is. Oh, yes, I'm familiar with this guy. I don't have any plans to do him, but it's not like we can't. He would be fun to do. Yeah, he'd be a fun one to do for sure. Yeah, and there we go. I'm a big fan of the tune. I'm really enjoying this tune thing. Right, we'll do more with it to make it even pop and come together a little bit too. I think it's coming together very nicely. It is coming together right now. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. The happy extruder 7178. Yeah, I got that congestion again. Okay. Any other questions that I missed? Let me look. If not, I'm going to have to get going here. Bearings, bless you. Thank you. Okay. All right, this is where I'm going to leave it at today. I am scheduled to stream again next Friday. So I'm going to continue working on this guy until we get him to the point where I'm happy with him. And then we'll get into some more of the rendering stuff. So, but for now, I'm good where he's at. I got almost all the clean pieces. I just got to finish the chest. Everything else is clean. Took care of the that. Yes, I do have a Discord. I don't go on it a lot. I'll be honest with you. I've had so many places, people communicating with me. So I do an email for this. So the at PixoPaul is me. So if you did that I would get an email. And then the Discord, this is mine. Invite to server. All right. Okay, let me come back over here. All right. Paste. Okay, there's my Discord invite. There you go. So you have on ZBrush Central at PixoPaul would be me, and again I'll get an email, and if you post anything in there, and then there's my Discord. If you want, I'll be posting this stuff on my also Instagram. It looks like, let's see, did the at PixoPaul? I don't think it came through because I did at PixoPaul. Let's see. There we go. The at PixoPaul, there you go. That's for ZBrush Central. Okay. And then my Instagram, if you want, because I always look at that too, is just my name, but Gaboury Paul instead, at Gaboury Paul. So there's multiple ways you can get a hold of me for sure. Yeah, I think I'm gonna render this guy a little bit out and throw it on the Instagram so people can see what I'm making. Might be fun to turn this guy into a sticker. I don't know, because it would be easy too to add the filter, right? If I wanted to turn it, just to give you guys an idea, right? I am currently using this. Let's see, Orton outline edge. Okay, this outline edge. Let's copy this. Let's paste it. Here, we'll go this way, and let's only have it on the document. And now instead of black, I mean green, you get white. And then of course, this is all about now thickness. Right, so you can go that thick. And then now this is that, right? So that's the white outline now of the sticker itself. And then I'd only want to do exterior, let's see. Losing too much of the black. So I probably want to move this. Cut and insert. Yeah, we'll have to play with this. Oh yeah, because this is here. So actually I want to cut. I want to cut this one. And then insert it. There. There we go. Right, so you think about it, that's kind of making the sticker now. Right, it's another way to go about it. So now this is the white part. that's happening, right? And now I have it only happening on the document space. And I'm at my end. I have no fall off, good to go. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Cool. That's fun. It makes them pop, right? A little bit. Okay. Yep, I'm a big Gundam 2 fan. I am going to save this. We'll save a project. All right, guys, thank you so much. This has been another episode of Did You